Okay, so we're just going to do the little house routine one by one. And this is something that you're going to do exactly like I'm doing it. You just make sure that you can do it one dog at a time first. Sit. We're coming in from outside, and we're going to go straight to doing the stationing mat exercise. And always have them sit in front of the mat and allow them to go onto the mat like this. Go to your mat, down. Tell them down, and if they do that successfully, good, you reward them. Always put the reward on the mat so they take the reward off the mat. Make sure they're not trying to take it out of your hands, that they're really waiting for you to put it on the mat and you withdraw and they take it off the mat. That's just a respectful thing for them to do. They know that the mat is the calm place. They know that they need to stay focused and calm there. Nothing I do, or doesn't matter where I go, or what I do, or what sounds they hear, they stay there till they're released. This builds up great focus in the puppies. If they can focus and think at this level, their immunity to stress is pretty high, and they can handle a lot of stuff. So that means that they're less likely to get overstimulated, have aggression with other dogs, with each other later on when they become adults. This is just a building up exercise for their mind in general. So at first, what I'm just going to do is walk to different places in the house and then come back, and if he stays down, because this is Diesel that we have right here, Diesel stays down, I'm going to come back and give him a reward. Good. If he gets up, if at any time he gets up, I'm going to come over. If I'm out of the room, I'm going to come back and say no, or if I'm here, I'm going to say no, pick up the leash, either walk into him, put him back on the mat, or if he just stands up, I'm just going to say no, step on the leash, he'll go back down. He knows exactly how this game is played, so if you do these moves, he'll do this for you. So now I'm going to walk into the kitchen out of his sight and come back. Good. Gets a reward for that. Gonna come over here, make a little noise on my guitar. That's a horrible noise. Good, very good. And he stayed there. I'm going to go back here, close the hallway door, and knock on it. Very good. Gets a reward for staying there. No matter what happens, he knows. Good. As long as he stays calm, waits for his owner, which, you know, it's me right now, but you're going to take my place. You're his owner. As long as he waits for his owner to come back, something good happens at the end, and it's always a good ending. So he's going to sit through, in a downstay, he's going to sit through whatever happens until you come back to release him. That's what this, also what this exercise teaches him. And we already have somebody, you want to show Darian sitting on the sofa. This is going to happen in your house. People are going to be sitting around and getting up. It's very often like an invitation, good, to the dog to come over to you when you sit on the sofa. So it's also good to practice going and sitting down on the furniture and coming back, and he needs to stay there. If you go sit down on the furniture and he gets up, you're going to say no, put him back, go back over, no reward, go back over and sit down until he stays there, and then he gets a reward when he does it properly, like you just saw him do. Now I'm going to do something that's more difficult for him to handle. I'm going to go outside. And I'm going to leave that door open, knock on the door and ring the doorbell. If you're ever going to do something that's difficult for the dog to handle, it's okay to remind him what you want him to keep doing. So I'm going to close the door, I'm going to say down, and I'm going to close the door, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, and bang on the windows. Just make as much noise as possible. Oh, good, he handles that pretty well. So he gets a reward for that. Good. If I did that and I came back and he'd gotten up, I'd say no. I'd take the leash, I'd step into him, bring him back. He would be right here, put him back. Or if he was just standing up, I'd just pick up the leash, step on the leash and put him back. No reward. Then I'd go back and do it again. If you're trying something that makes him get up, maybe like, I did all this stuff, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, bang on the windows. I think I knocked on the door again after that. Maybe if he makes a mistake, maybe just go back and do one part at a time. Go outside, knock on the door, come back in. If he does that successfully, reward, go back out, knock on the door, ring the doorbell. Just do it in increments. If he's making mistakes in a certain situation, go back, do a piece at a time and build up. Find out what part of it made him get up. And then you know where to start doing it and what to gradually work up to, rather than doing the whole thing over and over again, having him make mistake after mistake after mistake, because after a while the mistake becomes a pattern of behavior where he just practices making mistakes. So you don't want that. You want to go for, if possible, one mistake, find out what happened. The next time you try it a little bit less so that you can start getting successes in that same situation, build up from there. So Darian, I think the last thing I'm going to do is have Darian get up and just kind of walk around. Show the puppy. Yeah, good. And so Darian is just good. A distraction. Just walk wherever you want to go. And we're both kind of walking around. It's an extra distraction for Diesel. Maybe come into the kitchen. And it's a small place. It's smaller than the house that he's going to go back to live in. Good. So it's more difficult because everybody's on top of each other here for him to stay there. So Darian went to sit down again. That was perfect. That's fine. You can stay seated there. So if all you do is 5 minutes a day with the puppies, at first do one at a time. Make sure that you're comfortable, you're having great success with just one dog at a time. When you're doing this with one of them, the other one's back in their crate or outside or somewhere away so that you can focus on one at a time. And then in this case, Diesel will go back into his crate in the other room or out in the garage, and you bring in Bentley and do this with her. And then, but after you're comfortable, in a few weeks, hopefully, if you're comfortable doing this one-on-one, maybe the both of you in the family can each have one dog, and you have a mat on one side of the room and a mat on the other side, and you do this with both dogs at the same time. And then maybe the next day you switch mats where this dog's on the other mat and the other one's here. So just always, once you're comfortable with one way, start mixing it up, because every time you do it a little bit differently and it's easy and they don't make mistakes anymore, you want to kind of push the envelope a little bit, change the place where you put the mat, change what you do, change the person holding the dog. Like if you're great with Diesel, but maybe your wife is not great with Diesel, then when he's better, then you switch dogs. And just so that you mix it up and always do it in different variations, because that'll make the dogs better and better and better over time. So what I'm going to do now is take him off of his mat. He's been really good. One last reward. Good. Good for staying there and not even making one mistake. I'm going to pat my leg and say, okay. And we're going to go right over here to this crate.